Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we were talking a lot of shit about Cody Rhodes a year ago, but now, let me just get this out of the way first. I don't want to hear it anymore. Tomas and I watched Hell in a Cell. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Let's get this out of the way now because this was the big moment of the night. We are talking about WWE Hell in a Cell 2022 that was in the books. And a lot of people, including myself, and I'm sure Zack as well, we weren't really going into this show with a lot of thoughts. There's no Roman Reigns on the show, no WWE Universal title on the line, a lot of repeats from WrestleMania Backlash, and WWE really on like repeat mode, it seems like, with a lot of these pay-per-views. But we've criticized WWE's booking enough, so this felt like it was going to be a solid show, but nothing too special. But this might be probably the most special show of the year so far.
Yeah, no, I would honestly, other than WrestleMania, which is kind of a cop-out, I had the most fun watching that show, but yeah, I mean, this has got to be one of the best shows of the year for sure so far. I can't believe I'm saying that. The wrestlers were bailing out the shitty booking heading into it.
Oh, yeah, and that's
always
WWE's, when I talk about WWE, I don't praise the booking or anything. I praise the wrestlers,
Yeah.
I praise the Cody Rhodes, the Seth Rollins, the Bianca Belairs, the Asukas, the Becky Lynches, the Lashleys. Hell, I even praise the Omoses, the Theories.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say Omas there.
Ali's, and and I feel like we both have a match on this card that we don't want to talk about. And hell, even Madcap and Happy Corbin delivered on this show.
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah, to an extent. We'll get to that later. But the big story of the night is that the main event was Cody Rhodes versus Seth Freakin Rollins inside Hell in a Cell, and it was reported that Cody Rhodes was injured earlier on in the day, lifting weights, getting ready for the match. There was rumors, and WWE confirmed that Cody Rhodes tore his pec. And when they opened the show, the announcers were saying, yes, Rhodes is injured. We'll have more on that later. And later on the show, they said that Rhodes was still going to wrestle. And I was just sitting here thinking,
how the fuck would he do that?
Why? And what's the extent of this injury? And when I heard it was a tore pec, I immediately went back to John Cena in 2007 when he took that RKO on the announce table. And he literally days before a championship defense against Randy Orton. And the match got canceled. Cena was supposed to be out for 7 months to a year. He came back at the Royal Rumble, but he was still not able to compete in that scheduled match.
He had to relinquish the WWE title, which he had held for over a year at that point. Yeah, so it was a big deal.
I was curious, a lot, and we'll get to that later. I don't want to blow our load on the Rhodes and Rollins situation right now, but that's just the opening of the pay-per-view. And did we get quite the opener for this pay-per-view.
Yeah, no pre-show match because we had WWE has all this talent in the world, and they're only used on the main shows now. There's no pre-show matches anymore.
But before we get into this opener, one thing I am going to give WWE over AEW, and we did talk about this Double or Nothing, quality over quantity, ladies and gentlemen. There were half the matches on this card as there were to AEW. Double or Nothing clocked in at almost 5 hours. Hell in a Cell clocked in a little less than 3 hours. I can't believe we're saying that in 2022 that WWE finally has some time constraint on their pay-per-views.
Maybe a hair over 3 hours, which is still perfectly manageable for a big show like this, a premium live event.
No longer are the days of 4.5 hour long Money in the Banks. That was when I was like, okay, WWE, you need to pump the brakes a little. When the network got announced, I wanted pay-per-views to be a little over 3 hours, not to be like held back by time constraints, but not 5. Like, we love wrestling, we love watching it, but oh my,
a little too much.
A 3 hour movie, let alone a 4 hour pay-per-view. Anywho, I'm rambling. Like I said, we have one hell of an opener. I have not been keeping up with Raw and SmackDown, but when I saw this match, I knew it was going to blow the roof off the place to open up. We have Bianca Belair defending the Raw Women's title against the man Becky Lynch and a returning Asuka. Asuka made her return a few weeks after WrestleMania. It was a lot of bullshit how they got to this match, but I'm glad how we got to this match.
Yeah, can we talk about that real quick? So Becky Lynch loses to Bianca at WrestleMania, right? And it's this big... it's this big, amazing moment for Bianca. Second year in a row, she wins a title. Becky Lynch, needless to say, has hit rock bottom, and she wants a rematch. Asuka comes in, and the person that she announced that she was going to be a mother to when she was in the ring in the middle of, no fans in the Performance Center. It would have been a great moment with the people, but regardless, Asuka was the one in the ring that Becky handed the title to when she left.
Exactly.
So it all circles back.
Yeah, in a very unique moment that I never would think we're going to see again. Asuka basically traded the Money in the Bank briefcase for the Raw Women's title because Lynch couldn't defend the title. Asuka had the briefcase. It made sense. It was the perfect segue to literally award Asuka the title. It's like, here's your reward for winning that very weird Money in the Bank ladder match. You don't even have to cash it in. Just here's the Raw Women's title.
So Asuka wins a #1 contenders match on Raw, and it was originally slated to be Bianca versus Asuka one-on-one. But then the very next week, they turn around and they're like, oh, Becky, if you beat Asuka one-on-one, then you're added to the match to make it a triple threat. And of course she wins. No complaint there. So it's kind of like, basic booking to get to it. But my word, was this an outstanding match. I really dug it.
Excellent. And, Belair, Asuka, and Lynch, I don't think you could ask for any more just solid in-ring talent. These three ladies were clicking very well. This match was very, very well paced. You have the striking and submission style of Asuka. You have the pure strength and athleticism of Bianca Belair. And then you have Becky Lynch, who has really turned into this very skilled veteran that knows how to command her way around a match. This was literally a match made in heaven. I had so much fun watching this match.
And the fans in Chicago had a lot of fun watching it too, and I am so envious of them getting spoiled with this show and then Forbidden Door at the end of the month, which is also in Chicago, which is nuts. This was, it's a simple story that they're telling here. Becky is constantly trying to steal the pin from Bianca Belair. Always. For example, Bianca would hit I don't think she hit a kiss of death in this match, but just to kind of give you an idea, if she were to hit a kiss of death on Asuka, Becky would try and run in and then try and pin Asuka, near fall there. So,
if there is one thing WWE is doing very well, and I noticed in this match, is they are protecting the KOD.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah, no one's really kicked out of that move. No really rope breaks. It was really, I really like, and especially in a multi-person match like this, where a finisher like that can be so well protected. We've seen Roman Reigns kick out of 6 F5s, and the F5 is like nothing to me now.
No.
You've seen multiple people kick out of spears. There's only very few finishers in pro wrestling, let alone WWE, that are protected, and they are really protecting the KOD.
Which, all the credit in the world for them doing that. So there's also some really amazing submission wrestling in this match. Asuka has a dual ankle lock on both competitors at some point, which I'm sure Kurt Angle was watching that with a big smile on his face, because he's probably like, how in the hell could I have done that?
I love how Asuka has added the ankle lock to her arsenal because it fits her so well. And I saw a post recently that I very much disagreed with. They said, why isn't Asuka a killer anymore? She is still very much a killer.
She is. She's a killer with a smile.
Yeah, she has those swinging back fists that I swear could knock anybody out, break a nose. Her kicking game is on point. Her submissionals are excellent. We saw the Asuka lock in this match, which I haven't seen in a while. And that is such a devastating finisher. The way she just cranks that arm and pulls back on the chin at the same time. I love her kicks, but at the same time, I want to see more matches ended with the Asuka lock.
Yeah. Now, I think she had the Asuka lock on Bianca, too, which is honestly really commendable that Bianca isn't, she's portrayed as a powerful, dominant female, but, she will still sell. She will still sell for these two ladies, and it was great selling on all three fronts.
If there was one spot that I feel like was missing from this match, I would have loved to have seen Belair attempt a KOD on both Asuka and Lynch at the same time, because I fully believe that Bianca could hoist both of those women over her head. And
that's a WrestleMania spot right there, not a B pay-per-view spot, but
still, I think that would have been an excellent spot to include in this match. But other than that,
of course,
this was all very this was a technical triple threat match. We didn't really see the ladies take the sky too much. You didn't see any crazy bumps. This was just, a three-way chess match. I love this match a lot. This may be one of my favorite women's matches this year.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'd like this more than Bianca versus Becky in the one-on-one at Mania, personally, but this was still perfectly technically solid. It's very, very sound match. But the story, like I said, the whole time Becky was trying to steal the pin from Bianca. Well, it comes back to bite her in the ass because Becky hits Asuka with a manhandle slam, and Bianca, the babyface, goes in and steals the pin, retains the Raw Women's title. Was there any doubt, really? She just won the title 2 months ago. I mean, 4.25. This is an outstanding if I could talk, outstanding opener. All three ladies, they showed up. They showed up.
You know, I don't want to say Money in the Bank is a throwaway pay-per-view, but this really makes me wonder, now that Bianca Belair kind of stole this victory from Becky Lynch, what kind of like ultimate match can we have between Lynch and Belair? Because I would love to see these two women in a 30-minute Iron Man match at like SummerSlam.
Well, after the crowd in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania ruined Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins at Extreme Rules, I don't think we're going to see an Iron Man match in WWE anytime soon.
I don't think that's fair to say, honestly. I know that was silly and ridiculous, but I feel
it was a long show. It was a long show, though.
An Iron Man match.
Yeah, the crowd was chanting like, to 24 minutes, and I'm like, I'd love to. I agree with you. I'd love to see an Iron Man match, but I'm not holding my breath because.
I definitely think it's something like the fans have ruined a lot of moments in a lot of matches. I don't think an Intercontinental title match from 2018 is gonna like burn any bridges with WWE and that. But I'm just wondering, like, we have to see one more match between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair before.
Oh yeah,
Belair hopefully moves on to a new opponent. It's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting to say the least. That was an excellent match.
It's certainly more interesting than this next match that we get. Bobby Lashley versus Omas and MVP in a handicap match. In a match that I really wish was a rap battle. This whole video package that we got was a banger of a rap from MVP called Fall Mighty. So good. Didn't know MVP had it in him, but it was awesome. It was awesome.
MVP has been an underground rapper for a long time now, and I can't believe it's taken this long for him or WWE to be like, "Hey, can you make something?" Because MVP raps his own theme song.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, the theme song that Brock Lesnar danced to during MVP's return. Also,
no, not that one.
Not that one. The straight up ballin', I think. Yeah.
Ballor's Anthem. Ballor's
Anthem. That is. Yep. You're right. Omas apparently also does some rapping on the side too. WrestleMania weekend, he was on stage and he was just, shooting the shit with people, and he seems like a really cool guy. Like, add that to his gimmick. He doesn't have to just be a giant gimmick. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
Have him come out and rap some.
Yeah. Before we get into this match, I think it's fair to point out that before this match, backstage, Cedric Alexander, former member of the Hurt Business, was trying to get back into the good wills of MVP and Omas, and MVP kind of just shuts him down and says, "Alexander, you need to stop. The Hurt Business is done. It's dead. It's never coming back. There's no room for you here. You're a failure, basically. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That's going to be very important for later on in this match."
Yeah, because WWE does not know how to use a guy like Cedric Alexander these days. He's too damn good for this company. But Cedric, it's kind of a sin that the Hurt Business is no more anyway. Like, that was one of the best things to come out of the pandemic, in my opinion. And the Thunderdome era was the Hurt Business. They were so fun to watch. It was the best thing to happen to Bobby Lashley's career in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Now Lashley is a full-blown babyface, and he's smiling to the crowd, and he's like fist-bumping to his music, which is still the almighty Bobby Lashley music.
Oh, Lashley was over as fuck in Chicago.
He was, and the pyro still hits so hard, but goddamn, I miss the lightning bolts. I miss the lightning bolts so much. The pedestal doesn't hit as badass to me as the lightning bolts did,
Hopefully, WWE has some big plans for babyface Lashley, foreshadowing to this. Unfortunately, as much as I have defended Lashley versus Omos at WrestleMania and at Backlash,
I told you,
there really wasn't anything special to this match. We've seen it before. The added element of MVP helped a little. MVP still got it, by the way. Considering he has terrible knees at this point, was very impressed that he was able to hit the drive-by on Lashley.
Oh yeah, no, the drive-by kick, yeah, that's a great move too. As long as he doesn't hit the overdrive or the playmaker at all. But
which he did attempt, and I'm like, that move couldn't hurt a flea.
no, it's such a terrible move. Fucking hate it.
This match was basic. There was really nothing to it. Honestly, I think I never saw their cage match, but pay-per-view wise, I think the WrestleMania Backlash was probably the best you're going to get out of these two. But moving on to the end, like we said, Cedric Alexander did play a part in the finish of this match. He was actually able to distract MVP and Omos long enough where Lashley was able to hit Omos with a spear. And Lashley was able to get the pin. And from
actually no. So he hit Omas with the spear.
Yes, you're right,
Omas rolled out of the ring. MVP was legal, and then Lashley locks in the Hurt Lock or the full Lashley, whatever you want to call it.
I'm
today.
sorry. I really got to stop you now. Nobody calls it the full Lashley. I think they call it.
I call it the full Lashley. It's so fun. I don't know why it's
canonically the Hurt Lock now.
I know it is. It's the same thing. The full Lashley. He locks.
It's like a Mandela effect at this point. They call it one thing, and then you can't remember. Like, wait, didn't they fucking call it that like last week?
Yeah. Whatever you want to call it right now. But yeah, canonically, you're correct. It is the Hurt Lock. But I just have too much fun with you by calling it the full Lashley just to bug you. But, I mean, star and a half. I mean, Omos is improving. You didn't expose him too much and didn't expose how green he was. Now we can sort of have fun with him, I think.
Yeah, like I said, when you have these guys wrestle 4 times, I think you've gotten the best out of Omos you could out of this feud. Like I said, the added element of MVP was all right. I think WrestleMania Backlash was the best you're going to get out these two. But according to Lashley's celebration, Lashley is finally finished with Omos. He has finally brushed him off. He's
finished with Omos and his jogging to knock him through the timekeeper's area, like Braun Strowman did, taking such small steps for a big guy.
So, according to Lashley's celebration, he is done with that. The crowd is fucking over for Lashley. Lashley goes into the crowd and he grabs a replica of the WWE Championship.
He does.
Very much foreshadowing that he may want to challenge for that title. I also very much like, and I know this was just pretty much on the fly for him, but I'm really happy that he grabbed the WWE title.
And not the Yep. Yeah, it's because it's 2 separate titles. It's 2 separate titles according to WWE.com.
You know what? You have my show's title. I wanted to say belt, but I don't want Vince McMahon to beat me with a belt.
It's a belt.
My show's belt. I am tired of you holding both of these titles hostage. I want to challenge you for my WWE Championship. I'm going to take that championship home to Monday Night Raw. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to challenge Reigns for one of those titles. And I think Lashley may be the guy because I don't see a reason for one guy to hold both titles considering the way they're booking it.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. And sorry to cut you off, but like according to WWE.com, they are still 2 separate titles. So I definitely agree. My idea is that Roman should wrestle 2 matches at Money in the Bank, one of them being against Lashley for the title, for the WWE title. If Raw was anything to go off of, Riddle challenged Roman Reigns for Money in the Bank as well. So in his hometown of Las Vegas. So that should be a spoiler for that match.
Here's the thing when it comes to this booking situation, since Reigns unified the titles of WrestleMania, he has not defended them. So it really makes you wonder what exactly they're going to do. I'm going to give WWE credit. When Brock Lesnar was the WWE champion, he won both titles from John Cena and turned it into one title. They treated that one title like it was a big deal. They said, this is the guy that you want to go for. And if he's not going to be there, there's going to be guys like John Cena, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins that are going to be vying for this title. It sure looks like nobody on either brand gives a flying fuck about Roman Reigns holding both titles and basically going AWOL with them. You know,
doesn't make any sort of sense. And then Bobby Lashley acknowledges that. No pun intended.
You know, Riddle is too concerned with the tag team titles. Everybody else on the roster seems to be preoccupied and no one realizes, hey, Roman Reigns just unified our titles and he's not even here. Like, when do we start, you know?
Yeah, let's get the world titles back. But I think Bobby Lashley is a perfectly suitable candidate to become a 3-time WWE champion there. But
we have a plethora of challengers on both shows. You got Lashley that wants a title shot. You got Riddle that wants a title shot. You got Shinsuke Nakamura that wants a title shot. You have fucking Drew McIntyre that wants a title shot.
Randy Orton. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, fuck it, AJ Styles, put him back in the title picture, please.
Edge, Finn Balor. We have a lot of fucking guys on this roster, and any of them could be a world title contender. I get it. Roman Reigns is the fucking man right now, but it does not mean he's so. I mean, you're booking him to be even higher on a pedestal than you did Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar wasn't immortal. I'm sorry, Roman Reigns is not immortal.
Nope.
Like,
not
it's
at all.
time to start humanizing him a little. You know, I feel like I had to get my Roman Reigns thoughts out now because he's not on the show, so I'm not going to get a chance.
That's fair. That's fair, man. Yeah, and like fitting enough with Lashley holding up a replica of the WWE title, which someone on Twitter claimed was his. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, but I mentioned Kevin Owens, but he has been stuck in this feud after main eventing with Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania.
Here we go. Kevin Owens is going one-on-one with Ezekiel, and this is the first time we've gotten a chance to talk about Ezekiel.
Here we go.
Okay, here's the thing. This is a feud. It's a very, very weird feud. I'm not going to call it bad because both people are kind of making it work. But holy fuck, is Kevin Owens dedicated to this. He is the kind of guy.
He's so good.
Give him an ensemble role, and he's going to make it the best fucking ensemble role there is.
Like, Kevin Owens is having way too much damn fun with this, and I agree with him. That is Elias. It is, in fact, the same fucking guy playing two different roles. It's just like the TNA gimmick with Chris Park playing Dr. Joseph Park and then Abyss. You know, it's the same idea there. But
so, to you fans that have not been watching Raw, and I don't blame you, at the night after WrestleMania, a new wrestler made his way onto Raw, and his name is Ezekiel. Ezekiel looks very familiar, and Kevin Owens is the first one to call this out and says, "It's you, Elias." And Ezekiel says, "I'm not Elias. I'm Ezekiel, Elias's younger brother." And Kevin Owens has made it his damn mission to prove that that's not Ezekiel, it's Elias. WWE even went as far as to Photoshop a picture of Ezekiel and Elias together, which I would admit was a pretty damn good Photoshop job.
It was.
They even let Ezekiel get control of his brother's Twitter. They've been doing silly skits all over Raw, lie detector test with Chad Gable. All this
that was a fun
stuff.
segment. The lie detector test with Chad Gable was a fun segment. Sorry to cut you off, but the lie detector test with Mr. America still holds a special place in my heart. That segment was not going to be nearly as funny as what they did with Hulk Hogan there. No way. But,
you know, I will say, as fun as this feud has been with both guys just giving it their all, there's really no end goal to this feud. No. It's just a vicious cycle, and I don't get what WWE... But then again, this is WWE we're talking about. I don't even know why I'm saying that. But I will say, this match was better than it had any right to be.
It was definitely an above-average match. I was very surprised by the physicality of it. I saw Ezekiel bleeding at some point, and I was like, how the hell did that happen?
Gimmick or no gimmick, Ezekiel/Elias is a fucking good wrestler, and he is.
He's fine. I mean, he's not gonna light the world on fire like an AJ Styles or a Finn Balor or anything like that. But he's a solid hand in there. It's like a Baron Corbin.
Elias, he was underrated as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, you have this new character, and you pretty much take away everything that made his personality work. That's why I'm not necessarily a fan of the Ezekiel angle, because what exactly is his gimmick aside from just being this generic wrestler?
Yeah, you can only go with the I'm Elias's brother so far, because as great as Elias was, what did Elias do? He never won a championship. He never won a Royal Rumble. He never won Money in the Bank. He never main evented a pay-per-view. He was just a very solid worker and a very solid gimmick.
He's a solid heat magnet. That's what he was. He was
as a baby face, he was running well, but the machine never really got behind him, which is a damn shame, because like I said, this match approved Ezekiel/Elias is a fucking good wrestler, and him and Kevin Owens put on a really fun match. This was stiff. This was, all of Kevin Owens' greatest hits were in here: the Swanton Bomb, the Bullfrog Splash, the Pop-Up Power Bomb. Ezekiel with the cannonball. Ezekiel with that beautiful Macho Man elbow drop and that beautiful jump behind
with the Macho Man tassels.
This was. I had a lot of fun with this match. This was a solid wrestling match.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like, typically in a way above average Raw match, an average match for a pay-per-view, I would say. 2 3/4 stars for me. But the interesting thing is Kevin Owens beats this bloke clean in the middle of the ring with the stunner.
I think
The match went. The
well,
match
not
went
only
12 minutes.
that, like he hit him with a vicious cannonball, and then excuse
Bless
me,
you, bless you,
sorry.
bless you.
Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, he hits him with a vicious cannonball, and then he hits him with the KO stunner. And I think Owens needed this win after the WrestleMania main event was fucking amazing, but we got to get this guy back on the winning track if he wants to, I don't know, win the WWE Championship or possibly win Money in the Bank or do something. Owens needed this fucking win.
He really did. He really did, man. And I appreciate you saying that. Kevin Owens is the man. He doesn't get enough credit.
And then you made a really good point after this match that the Ezekiel experiment should be over. And I started thinking after you said that, and I can't help but agree, because what do you do with this gimmick now that his initial feud is over?
Kevin Owens pretty much exposed that this is the same guy playing both parts.
Yeah,
so
it's like
you don't really have anywhere else to go with this story necessarily.
Yeah, what do? Have another heel get in Ezekiel's face, say, "Oh, you're Elias's brother"? Like, this gimmick has a shelf life.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you have Ezekiel disappear for like a few months just so we could grow his beard back and then return as Elias, I think that would be funny as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
Kevin Owens can interrupt him. Kevin Owens can interrupt him during his return concert, and Elias can be like, "What did I say about people interrupting me?"
Yeah, or like Owens is saying like, "Oh, if it's good to have you back, Elias. Like I was, tired of that Ezekiel." I'm like, "You mean my little brother Ezekiel?" Like, yeah, I saw you give him a really good beating, and now I'm here to kick your ass for it. Like, I don't know if that would like bug Elias to like, oh, we're gonna change your gimmick, and oh, you're gonna go away and grow your beard back, and we're gonna return you as Elias. I don't know, that might ruffle some feathers, but
I don't know.
What do you do with this? What the fuck do you do with this generic wrestler with a generic theme song? Like, you're not gonna put the world title on him.
The crowd was like,
Money in the Bank.
yeah, the crowd was not as into this match as they would be like on any Elias pre-match song segment, but. Next up we have a
but it was fun. It was it could
very fun. Very fun. Next up we have a captivating gimmick here in a big 6-person mixed tag team match. AJ Styles, Finn Bálor, and Liv Morgan, collectively known as the Liv Club. You like that? Tomas just cringed. The Liv Club. They're going up against the entire Judgment Day, as Jimmy Smith said, which is pretty much just 3. Edge, Damien Priest, the Punishment. I see what you're doing there, WWE. The Punishment of the Judgment Day, and the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley. This was a very fun match. I really did.
Let me shout out right now, I love Rhea Ripley's new gear.
I'm pretty sure everybody on Twitter loves Rhea Ripley's new gear there, for sure. I'm sure you're not the only one.
Okay, fine. I like it for more than one reason. I feel like it fits the... Rhea Ripley's gimmick has always been, punk rock emo girl. But I feel like this just, like, encapsulate, like, the evilness that she has now.
It's all matching gear here. And I feel like I'm probably going to get into what would happen the next night on Raw on this podcast, like, unless Tomas hasn't seen it, so I won't spoil it.
I saw the picture, but I haven't seen the segment.
Yeah, so the match was very fun. There was some great wrestling in there. It was your typical 6-man tag team match chaos.
All 6 people delivered.
Yeah, Damien Priest hits I saw AJ bleeding in this match too. I think he hit the ring post.
Yeah, he bled, and then during the whole finishing schmoz, I saw one of the trainers head over there. I'm like, oh fuck, who's over there? Like, the trainer wouldn't be checking up on him unless someone's like really fucking hurt. Like, no, we can't handle any more injuries right now. But
probably just needed some staples.
Yeah,
probably just
AJ
needed some
Styles
staples.
really fucking knocked himself up during this match.
Yeah, what is it with AJ wrestling Edge and always finding a way to bleed? He bleeds like before his entrance at WrestleMania, and then like I don't know if he bled at WrestleMania Backlash, but now here he is with a big gash on his head by the end. Like,
the announcers made a really good point that I didn't realize, that AJ Styles, that was the first time he's hit the phenomenal forearm on Edge.
It was, and it was a fucking thing of beauty, like it always is. Like
again, talk about protecting finishers.
I fucking love AJ Styles, man. He hits that phenomenal forearm and the crowd pops huge. He goes for the pin. Damien Priest, the punishment, pulls him out from underneath the ropes by his arms. Fucking lands face first. It looks fucking violent.
Yeah.
Like, my lord, that was a nasty landing. I don't know if that was what made him bleed, but Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley get in there and they do their thing. Liv Morgan has really improved so much since going off on her own from the Riot Squad. She is just incredible. Really, really solid worker. Her and Rhea, I'm surprised that Rhea Ripley didn't get the pin on her, honestly, because they just introduced Rhea Ripley into this group, and you might think that you'd want to put her over in that sense, but oddly enough, they didn't do that. Everybody played their roles to perfection. Damien Priest was a solid powerhouse. He's been a solid powerhouse for the Judgment Day this whole time. Finn Bálor
almost damn near scores the pin. He hits the swing blade. He hits the bullet drop kick. He almost hits the coup de grace. Unfortunately, he misses, and he eats a fucking spear. And then 1, 2, 3, the Judgment Day win.
Okay, so, yeah. Tomas didn't have a problem with this before, but now I'm sitting here like, yeah, this is fucking annoying now. So, here's my thing. Edge and Finn Bálor, by the way, mixing it up for the first time ever in the ring is something else to see. And it was really, really good. I thought they meshed together really well in terms of styles. The Judgment Day did not need to win this match here. AJ Styles, once again, has not won a pay-per-view match since Money in the Bank 2021. I understand some people might come on here and be like, oh, it's WWE. It shouldn't matter wins and losses. But, yeah, Seth Rollins has lost 3 straight times to Cody Rhodes now. Spoiler alert. AJ Styles hasn't won a pay-per-view match in a fucking year. This is the best wrestler in the world.
Rollins losing 3 times in a row doesn't necessarily bother me, but okay, we'll save that for later.
Yeah,
I understand. My issue with it was I understand wanting to put over the big bad heel faction. I understand they're brand new, they're fresh, they're making waves in WWE. You have a Hall of Famer as your leader. You have a very solid mid-carder you're trying to push in Damien Priest. Rhea Ripley has found her way out of tag team limbo and finally has a place where she fits. But you're doing it at the expense of Finn Bálor and AJ Styles. Nothing against Liv Morgan, but I'm used to her losing. You're doing this at the expense of AJ Styles, but mostly Finn Bálor. What the fuck have you done with this guy since bringing him back from NXT? You make him look like a fucking chump at Extreme Rules last year. You leave him off the card at WrestleMania when he's the fucking United States champion.
Yeah. He loses King of the Ring to Xavier Woods at Crown Jewel. Come on.
You send him to NXT because he's getting stale on the main roster, and that's not his fault. That's WWE's fault. He recreates himself in NXT, and then you send him back to the main roster just to go back to doing what he was fucking doing before.
Yeah. It doesn't really make much sense, but here's my thing. Speaking of not making sense, you saw Raw, or you saw pictures, rather. So you know what happens here. The Judgment Day comes out for a promo, and they promise that there's going to be a new member of Judgment Day coming on. So
I just assumed it was Tommaso Ciampa.
I was thinking Ciampa too, but Edge comes out. They're cutting their usual Judgment Day shtick. You people out there are the reason why we're doing this, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They introduce their new member.
By the way, I saw a sign in Hell in a Cell that just said omnipotence, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. Just a sign that said omnipotence.
I still think Mountain of Omnipotence would have been a really cool name for the faction too, but you know,
I had to get that out there.
Old Ruthless Aggression pay-per-view name as a stable name now. It works for me. WWE has that statement trademarked already, so so Edge pinned Finn Bálor in this match at Hell in a Cell, right? So they come out for the promo. They introduce their new member. It's Finn Bálor. What a freaking plot twist that is. And even more so, now the Judgment Day, Damien Priest, I think, is the one who says this, but they're finally ready to shed off the dead weight. That being fucking Edge, the guy who got the pinfall and put Judgment Day together in the first place. I'm sorry to be loud here, but it makes no sense. If you're gonna shed the dead weight there, Edge should have lost. Finn Bálor should have pinned him.
Not only that, Edge is the Hall of Famer coming back for his last run, playing this managerial role, who got this group together in the first place. He got a brand new gimmick, a brand new theme song. He cut his hair, and 3 months in, you're gonna remove him?
I feel like this is collateral damage from the Cody Rhodes injury, because I feel like if Cody Rhodes was not hurt, I don't think they'd be turning Edge babyface again. Like
no, like this gimmick, this faction has it has a lot of gas left in the tank. I'm all for Finn Balor turning heel and joining Judgment Day. I'm all for that.
I'm all for Finn Balor leading the group.
Yeah, but kicking Edge out? I feel like that was definitely an on-the-fly decision, and
it was.
We'll see where it goes. But Edge was having a lot of fun, experimenting with new gimmicks. Like, I love the Rated R Superstar, but we've seen that for so long. This was a breath of fresh air.
It was. He was going through his like gothic House of Black style Ministry of Darkness, Charles Manson cult leader phase, whatever you want to call it. But now he's just going to go back to putting on bangers with Finn Balor at Clash of the Castle, for example. But
this for Edge, this like ended before it even started. Like it feel like it's ending before he even gets it going. Like,
the booking,
I feel like this past few months he's been the Ferrari in the garage just warming up the engine. And then it's basically he gets out of the garage and makes it around the corner and he got pulled over by the police.
The booking so much halted his momentum. And I was like, I'm sure Edge was annoyed when he figured out that was what it was leading to on Raw. But as far as this match at Hell in a Cell goes, again, everybody played their role really well. Finn Balor and Edge meshed together so nicely. It makes me kind of excited to see their matches going into the late summer. But 4 stars again. I mean, solid.
I feel like
match.
You like this match a lot more. I didn't hate it. I thought it was very solid, but I'll give it 3.5 just because ever since WrestleMania, booking and match quality has just been on a downward slope for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Just because of the booking decisions. Like, I feel like Judgment Day is going to be a future Brian Zane video, just like this is what it was supposed to be. It was doing so well, and then they fucked it up because it's WWE.
I can see that happening within the next 5 years for sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying Finn Balor leading the group's going to destroy it, but I just don't see why you have to remove Edge. I really don't see why.
You didn't have to. You really didn't have to. But oh man, I wish this match could have been removed from the card. This next one.
Oh my God, this was a match that I don't know why this feud is still going. It's the only SmackDown match on the card, by the way. It's Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin in a no-holds-barred match. Let's get the positives out of the way. Number one, WWE is really getting behind Madcap Moss. I swear WWE gets behind the weirdest fucking people.
Okay. Can I say something about the name, though? Madcap Moss. He breaks off from Happy Corbin, and they're still calling him Madcap, even though he's coming out of this ambulance and being all serious.
Because this is WWE we're talking about. They have to slap a gimmick on everybody, and then they end it before anything. It's time to like really mesh.
But let me throw this out at you. Riddick Moss was also a gimmicked name. That is not that man's real name. I guarantee you. And you could even shorten that. You could hear Vince saying it. Oh, it's Riddick. Like.
And also, here's the other thing. I was scared because when they showed the match graphic, it said Madcap versus Happy Corbin. Like, motherfucker, they dropped the Moss.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Thank
you could.
God he was announced in the ring as Madcap Moss. Before we get into the build for this match, this goes back to the Judgment Day thing. WWE has really good ideas and concepts, or they have really stupid ideas and concepts. I'm not against a Madcap Moss push. But literally 4 months ago, he was a fucking joke character that you went out of the way to give him this name. You can't just take the fucking name away and change his gimmick again.
Literally, he's a joke character. That was all he was, to tell stupid dad jokes. And I was in the crowd for some of those, and I was like, hey guys, that's funny. It's a dad joke. It's going to get over. And everybody fucking hated it.
If WWE was going to do this joke character, here's the thing. You have to let it run for at least a year before you change the gimmick again. Yeah.
I bet you they're gonna switch Happy Corbin's gimmick up now too. But
like changing gimmicks like people change clothes every day. It's like
really doesn't make a bit of difference, man. But this time it was no holds barred. I'll give these guys credit.
It's a semi-serious feud because Happy Corbin Pillmanizes Madcap Moss. with his own Andre the Giant trophy on SmackDown.
Fuck, that was brutal.
Backlash. And, you know, you think this is the end for Moss. And like you said, Moss returns to SmackDown busting out of an ambulance like he's fucking Goldberg. I swear, WWE gets behind the weirdest fucking people. And I'm not against Riddick Moss getting a push. I'm just saying you have all this talent. And then Vince goes, no, that guy that's literally had 6 gimmicks in the past 5 years. That's the guy.
Just wait till we get to the next match, buddy. But
oh, God.
This was it was no holds barred, so it should have been a lot more fun. But Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus at Fastlane 2021. This ain't. This match was not very good. I mean, it was physical.
Crowd was into it, surprisingly.
Yeah, but they fucked the crowd too. They were chanting for tables so many times over these last. The match went 12 minutes, and those guys did not They did not get the table. They did not get the table, and like they could have.
I'm not gonna lie.
They could have improvised. You know,
I'm not gonna lie. I know I shouldn't be this way, but I don't really care about this feud.
I don't either.
I really wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, this was your pizza break match, basically. Happy Corbin, I mean, it's physical and all that. I do remember that the finish was Madcap, fucking Madcap.
Pillmanizing Corbin.
Yeah, he Pillmanizes Happy Corbin. I almost called him Baron there with all this talk about names. He Pillmanizes Happy Corbin using the bottom part of the steps. Like, on a chair.
Here's the thing. I have no reason to dislike this match because, believe it or not, Madcap Moss is a solid worker. Believe it or not, Happy Corbin is a solid worker.
He sure is.
This match was physical, and Happy Corbin had all the heat that he needed. Like, you know, this match had all the components, and I really have no reason to dislike it, but it's kind of like how I felt about Theory and Pat McAfee WrestleMania. I just don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah, but no whole...
Darling all you want, but I would rather see 2 really built guys that were plucked from the indies and that were booked right in WWE have this kind of match. But I don't give a fuck about Vince's pet projects. And Madcap Moss is a Vince pet project.
He sure is.
Brand new shiny toy that Vince McMahon is going to get bored of by the end of the year.
He's going to be another Ezekiel Jackson. He's going to be another, like, I don't know.
All you can say about Madcap Moss could wrestle circles around Ezekiel Jackson.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. No, Madcap Moss is a solid hand, just like Baron Corbin, an NFL reject. So,
fucking God, this feud is over.
Happy Corbin is on the shelf for a little bit because of that Pillmanizing, but I'm going
another star from SmackDown gone. Like, do you realize you have 5 people on SmackDown?
Yeah.
And now you're gonna kayfabe injure one of them.
Yep, I'm gonna go with the Chris Lash special and give it a 2. This was nowhere near what Ricochet and Walter could have pulled off for the IC title on this show. But speaking of mid-card belts, here's the United States Championship on the line as Theory defends against Mustafa Ali, Chicago's own Mustafa Ali. So that's a dead giveaway to what this match was gonna. The announcers were so like, what? This company fucking hates Mustafa Ali just because he asked for his release.
Let's get into the build for this match. Ali made his return to Raw a few weeks ago, which I'm like, you drafted him to SmackDown. I don't know why the fuck you're having him on Raw.
I forgot he was on SmackDown.
Yeah. So Ali makes his return to Raw. They're making it very apparent. They're not really hiding the fact that he wanted his release. He immediately picks a fight with Theory, which in my opinion, in my mind, I'm like, you're booking yourself into a corner because you just put the title on Theory. He's Vince's favorite superstar in the company right now. But
Theory.
Here's a brand new, fresh, well-rested Ali that's back. He's over with the crowd. He's babyface again. He's ready to rock and roll. Someone's got to lose in this situation. And Ali already fucking lost on the Go Home Raw.
He did. And now they're doing it again.
He does that.
In his hometown. And the announcers made it a point.
Let me get that trope out of the way. I fucking cannot stand when there is a pay-per-view match and then they come on and say, oh, just kidding, we're going to do it tonight on Raw. I fucking hate that. And they almost did it here. So
such a bad trope. Such a horrible trope.
I'm looking at all the components right here and I'm saying, okay, Ali lost on Raw. They're in Chicago. Ali's wearing Chicago colors. He's over as fuck. He is over as fuck in his hometown.
His wife, his kids are in the audience.
It's a no-brainer. You put the title on Ali. And this whole match, I was thinking, you put the title on Ali. You know, there has been some big rumors for Theory going forward. And he doesn't need this United States Championship. The United States Championship, mid-card titles, are holding down wrestlers at this point. The Intercontinental title hasn't been defended in over a year on pay-per-view.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me, brother. That Intercontinental title. Oh, but
the writing's on the wall. The writing is on the fucking wall here. And what did they do?
So let me just get the positive out of the way. Theory, God, what's wrong with Austin? Just keep that part in his name, man. He's not like a Finley. Finley. Austin Theory is now Theory. What are you gonna make me like? You know, like in 10 years, like he's still gonna be wrestling. My wife is gonna be in the kitchen. I'm like, hey babe, Theory's on the screen. What?
I swear to God,
Who would say that?
Vince is gonna book this company into a coma.
Who would say that? But it's a very athletic match. These two are both sure hands. And basically, Ali does this really sick bump to the outside, and the camera fucking misses it. Thank God that they showed it on replay.
Special.
Yeah, the Kevin Dunn special. Ali goes face first on the fucking floor, and Kevin Dunn misses it. Thank God he shows it on replay, but I'm like, if I were Ali, I would have been pissed going backstage. I'm probably already pissed.
The writing's on the wall. Ali is setting up for the 450. The crowd is going absolutely nuts. He misses the 450. Theory picks him up, hits him with the A-Town down.
Yep.
Theory fucking wins.
He pins his blow clean in the middle with the A-Town down, and I
felt like such a fucking moron believing that they were going to
put the title
on Ali in his hometown.
The company that
fucking idiot would think that.
The company that booked Bayley to lose the Raw Women's Championship to Alexa Bliss. I was there in the crowd for it. Bayley's a San Jose native, you know, and everybody was so mad in that crowd. And I'm like, I should have known.
Look, now, I understand that the hometown boy can't always win because that makes it a little too obvious. But to have him lose every single time?
Every once in a while, though. Not every time make him lose now. Like,
yeah, does Vince enjoy making kids cry? Because I feel like he does.
Apparently, because the Fiend's not in the company anymore. And the fan that was in the front row at WrestleMania Backlash, that Pat McAfee pointed out, must have been really sour about that. But
I'm sorry, but as solid as this match was, just that ass backwards booking really ruined it for me.
Yeah. So what would you rate it then?
2 3/4.
Yeah, that sounds about fair. I'll go ahead and match it. I was gonna give it 3, but the fact that Ali didn't win it was like, of course he didn't. So I'm gonna knock it down a few pegs.
And again, Theory is Vince's guy, so good. I like Theory. He's fantastic. They are doing better with him than they've done with any NXT call-up in the past, 5 years. But WWE really needs to stop booking themselves into a corner like this.
Theory is a great example of a pet project done right, because if you remember in NXT, he was paired with Johnny Gargano in the way. And I think working with Johnny Gargano and being his like frat boy son, even though Theory is only like 10 years younger than Johnny Gargano, like that was a great dynamic. And working with Johnny Wrestling helped him wonders. Theory's still very solid in the ring for someone his age. He's 24, I believe.
Yeah, he has a million years ahead of him.
Oh yeah, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit for him.
There is, but not at the expense of guys like Ali. Like, if you're Ali, looking at the lights, the first thing you got to think is, why the fuck did I agree to come back?
Looking at Theory taking a selfie of him on the floor.
Yeah, like, so, you know how much of an Ali mark I am, so that makes it even worse.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right, so we had this main event here, Tomas, and there's a lot to talk about, including adrenaline in my soul, tore his pec right off the bone.
We are talking about Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins in the main event. This is the culmination of their trilogy of fantastic matches starting off at WrestleMania. But the big story of the night was Cody Rhodes was injured. I
Mm-hmm.
honestly wasn't sure what they meant by that. I don't know if this was being played up for kayfabe or not. But first of all, let's talk about Rollins. He comes out
Oh my God. He comes out, he's doing his stupid dance and his
in the
stupid
most
robe.
disrespectful gear I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he paid homage in the past to people like Rey Mysterio when he wrestled Dominic, like the Halloween Havoc 97 gear. This fool comes out and he's got full black and yellow polka dots on his gear, and it's just, oh my God, the announcers were so mad
Yeah.
at this fucker.
Mysterio Halloween Havoc, Thanos at SummerSlam 2018 with the Infinity Boot, uh, the shit he wore at WrestleMania, the
The Night
gold,
King.
yeah, the gold gear he wore at WrestleMania 33 against Triple H.
That was as the Kingslayer, Jamie Lannister. Seth Rollins is
Seth
a big Game of Thrones fan. So,
Seth Rollins truly is the visionary of drip.
yeah, this drip may have been the most disrespectful drip of all time. So,
But the real story is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes makes his
oh
way down the
God.
entrance ramp. And the first thing I notice is that he does his big pose at the middle of the ramp, but he can only lift one arm. And I turned to
Yeah.
my girlfriend and I said, how is he going to wrestle Hell in a Cell? He can't even lift his arm to, you know,
To
this.
do that. Yep. To do the, like the Messiah pose almost. But
But
um,
he makes it to the ring.
yeah, do you want to
He
describe what it looked like when he took the robe
Yeah,
off?
so they did the big match announcement, which was weird because it wasn't a championship match, but it was nice because it was, main event.
Mm,
Cody Rhodes waits until after he is announced to take off his jacket, and I'm not kidding, silence just shrouded the Allstate Arena because his left pec, all over here, pec, shoulder, bruised and swollen.
it was completely purple. Tomas texted me when he saw this, and he described it as Hulk after he snapped in an Endgame.
Jimmy Smith
Disgusting.
probably put it into better words than I ever could. 100 to say that Cody Rhodes isn't at 100% is an understatement. He'll be lucky if he's at 50%.
Yeah. I know I shit
And
on Corey Graves a lot nowadays, but he did a masterful job in this match, putting over how gutsy of a performance this is. I don't think Gutsy is giving this guy enough credit for going in there and honoring the match that, was advertised for the
so
fans, and not canceling it.
so I my eyes were glued to the TV at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany stands up, she walks away and says, "I can't watch this." And I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, the first thing that came into my mind was WWE is in a lot of trouble because they are sending out one of their performers to wrestle injured. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a first. I have never seen this is like if Triple H wrestled with the Torque Quad. This is
Yeah.
like, I don't know, Brian Danielson wrestling after just being diagnosed with a concussion. I have never seen anything like this before.
Well, I
And
can
I'm
give
just
you
sitting here wondering,
hold up. I can give you an easy comparison here. It's actually much like when Kurt Angle wrestled his WrestleMania 19 main event against Brock Lesnar, and everybody knew he had a broken neck. He broke his neck at No Way Out, but it wasn't like overly visible that Kurt Angle's neck was
and
like
it
in
wasn't
pieces.
the day of. Let me remind you guys, like I said at the beginning of this review, John Cena tore his pec 5 days, 6 days before a championship match against Randy Orton, and he had to relinquish the title. Cody
Mm-hmm.
Rhodes tore his pec the day of this pay-per-view, and he is going in there to wrestle one of the most dangerous matches in professional wrestling history. The
And let me,
first thing I thought is this match isn't going to go long because there's no way in hell Rhodes can fully work this match. And I couldn't help but,
sure enough, he
go
hits
to
a fucking not to like. I mean, he hits a fucking Cody cutter like a couple minutes
barely,
into the match.
barely.
It was
He
a
hits that
pretty
Cody
it was a
cutter.
pretty damn good Cody cutter though, dude. Like you can't lie. It was a really nice looking one. It like
I
as
mean,
given the circumstances, like
I'm not gonna criticize it because under the circumstances, but it was not pretty. He was able to spring off the ropes, but he could not like support it as well as he usually could.
No.
So that was my first concern. My second concern was, how serious is this injury? And Seth Rollins has a tremendous task to do in this match because, as you know, in pro wrestling, it is your job, it is your duty to protect your opponent. So Rollins is going in there with an injured opponent, and he has to make sure he does not hurt Rhodes any more than he already is.
And that's,
skeptical.
That's a huge stamp of approval that Cody is placing on Seth, and a huge amount of trust that he's placing in him as well. And Seth Rollins deserves so much credit for, I don't want to say he did everything in this match, obviously, but he had to bump his ass off for Cody Rhodes, and he
was
did that in
wondering
spades.
How Rhodes is going to sell this offense. And early into the match, Rollins grabs a kendo stick, and he's hitting the wound. He is smacking Rhodes' torn pec. He is applying pressure with the tip of this cane into Rhodes' torn pec. And I'm just like, I'm wondering what the extent of this injury is. And I am just absolutely amazed by the performance in this match by both guys.
Yeah, and he, like, the match kept going and going and going. They went 24 minutes. And I can sit here, like, and they pulled out all the stops here. Cody wanted to make sure that these fans got their money's worth. You can say whatever you want about Cody Rhodes, but you cannot tell me that guy doesn't love wrestling, doesn't care about the fans. Because if he didn't care about the fans, he would go off and get surgery, like, immediately.
Cody was getting slammed shoulder first into the cell wall.
Yeah.
Cody was taking all of Rollins' offense. Maybe not all the offense that maybe, there was no superplex into a Falcon Arrow, but you know what there was? There was a fucking buckle bomb through a table.
There was. How the fuck is that guy's arm not falling off of his shoulder? How did that not happen?
I'm no physician, but when I was reading up with this injury, or a lot of people were telling me, once you tear your pec, there's not really much more damage you can do to it. So Cody is just going out there like a fucking champ and taking this pain.
And Seth was certainly
another performance.
Seth was certainly inflicting it physically and mentally. There was a point where he puts on the American Nightmare robe. He reaches into a bag and he pulls out a leather belt like Cody Rhodes gives to all the young fans during his entrance, and it's emblazoned with polka dots and it says Visionary on the weight belt. Awesome.
Rollins did not, he didn't let up. He whipped Cody Rhodes like a government mule. And then Rollins would get his receipt afterward in one of the loudest belt shots I've ever heard.
One of the loudest ones. I thought you were gonna talk about the Texas Bull Rope for a second.
Oh, that's what I'm going to go into next. That was a perfect segue into Cody Rhodes reaching into his bag of tricks and pulling out his father's trademark bull rope with a cowbell on it.
Yeah, and where was Christopher Walken to call that?
He straps the bull rope onto his wrist. He throws the other end, and he is screaming at Rollins, "Put it on! Put it on, you coward! Put the rope on!" And Rollins respects it. And this Hell in a Cell match turned into a bull rope match.
That's a sense I never thought I'd hear in a million years. It's a Texas bull rope match inside a Hell in a fucking Cell, bro. We're gonna have two. We're gonna have two gimmicks in one. I mean, you want to talk about masking a fucking injury? You talk about a Texas bull rope gimmick inside a kennel from Hell.
Fun fact. I was in attendance for Cody Rhodes' second match ever in Sacramento against Randy Orton one night after Orton wrestled Dusty Rhodes in a Texas bull rope match. And I got to see not only Cody wrestle for the first time, but Orton write Dusty off of TV with a punt kick to the head. I was probably, I want to say 30 feet from it. And it was...
He sure did.
Yeah.
He sure did, yeah. And it was, I mean, the match was gnarly. It was brutal. I mean, just emblazoned with reality because of this injury. But as soon as, like, the crowd, like, wore off of, like, the dead silence of the injury and Cody working through it and just being just, like, white-knuckled grip in the chair, This
A
crowd was
phenomenal performer.
on fire.
And
It was a great match. A
and
really great
this
match.
match had one of your favorite tropes in it.
Stolen finishers. Seth Rollins hits a crossroads. I think more than once. Cody did not hit a curb stomp, but you know what he did hit finally, and what I was looking for since WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes hits a fucking pedigree, and I was like, if he wins with the fucking pedigree, it's just poetry, sheer poetry.
Then the
Great near
phenomenal
falls.
finish of Rollins going for another crossroads. Cody able to reverses it. He hits not one, not two, but three crossroads on his injured pec. He pins Rollins for the 1-2-3. For
Well,
this
he
performance.
hit a sledgehammer. He hit him with a sledgehammer before he pinned him too.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. I can't believe I forgot about the sledgehammer. I'm just
Seth
still in awe
pulled
over this performance.
Seth pulled the sledgehammer, and I was like, "Oh God, this is gonna not end well." And then Cody, just like he put the hammer to the throne in Double or Nothing, put a hammer to this feud, hit Seth straight in the face with it.
For this performance, for everything that Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins did under these circumstances, and for Rhodes being the toughest man in the world, this match gets 5 stars.
Match of the year for me so far. Can you believe I'm saying that? 2 years in a row, Hell in a Cell match is a match of the year.
This was excellent.
For a fucking torn pec off the bone. Yeah, this is. I mean, you can say I love me Kurt Angle. I love the fact that he was probably the most stubborn wrestler alive, wrestling with a broken neck on multiple occasions. This right here is probably one of the most heroic performances you'll ever see. Cody Rhodes came off like a white meat babyface if I ever saw one, the biggest babyface you ever saw. This guy, it's clear he's number 2 to Roman Reigns, and WWE is pushing him in that regard, and I'm so happy for the guy. He deserves it so much. It's shitty that this injury happened when it did.
I made the joke after the match was over that the ref is going to raise Rhodes' hand. Rhodes is going to keel over, puke, and demand to get taken to the hospital. No, he didn't. He cut a promo after the show.
Yep, he took it like a man.
He got on the mic and he said, so everybody knows right now, nobody forced me to go out here. I came out on my own decision because I wanted to wrestle this match. And then he says on Twitter, for the love of the game.
Of course. Yeah. You can't say this motherfucker doesn't love wrestling, because he's one of the most passionate people out there about this business, and I can't help but respect the man so much.
Go home, get some rest, and you're going to come back to the greatest ovation of all time. My only regret is that we are only 3 months into this historic push, and it's getting taken away from us for a few months.
Yep. Well, it's a roadblock. It's a roadblock. My thing is, he's going to come back stronger than ever. He's going to win the Royal Rumble. He's going to go to WrestleMania, fulfill the family destiny, and we'll be there in attendance for it. I can't wait.
Everybody to remember that John Cena tore his pec in September, I think. He returned in January.
Yeah. So
he has proven he has that Cena inhuman strength. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him back at the Rumble.
Yeah, that injury estimated 6 months, which puts him back just in time for the Rumble. I think he could be back even sooner than that. Probably Survivor Series if he's got Cena-like durability.
I think Rhodes should take the time until Rumble, just so it's more of a surprise.
Just to build the moment a little more.
I don't need Cody for Survivor Series. I'd rather him take the 2 extra months to make sure that he's back. And who knows, knock on wood, worst case scenario, we may not see Rhodes until WrestleMania, but knowing Cody's stubbornness, I'm going to say the Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble at the latest for me. But Cody's going to get pushed to the moon. He needs all the rest he can. Seth Rollins is going to be a big MVP for this company going forward. Absolutely.
Pro wrestling took a huge hit this weekend, not only with Cody Rhodes, but the new AEW World Champion CM Punk was injured and had to relinquish the title as well. I need everyone to understand this right now. I can disagree with the push. I can disagree with the title run. I cannot be a fan of the wrestler. Never in a million years would I wish injury on anybody. So Punk, Rhodes, go home, rest up. We're all looking forward to seeing you when you come back.
Can't wait. But Hell in a Cell, because of this main event, 5 stars, and great wrestling up and down the card. It's a solid 8.5 for me. I mean, I think it's show of the year aside from WrestleMania.
A solid 8 for me. This pay-per-view definitely surprised me at different ends. We had a very solid opener. A fun match with Kevin Owens and Ezekiel. I can't give it higher because I disagree with a lot of the booking decisions.
Fair.
Theory and Ali, the 6-man tag team match, not necessarily caring for Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, even though they did deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Opener, fantastic main event, fun wrestling all around. WWE can make all the stupid ass booking decisions in the world. At the end of the night, the talent's going to come through. And the talent
They
came
will.
through.
They sure do. They sure do. Every single time, they have a great talent of nice men and women working this lovely art, as you call it.
A world titleless pay-per-view, and the boys and girls delivered tonight.
They sure did. They sure did. Absolutely. It certainly left us satisfied, but got a lot to look forward to here on the ZNT Wrestling Show. Forbidden Door is coming your way at the end of the month. We're going to be starting off a 2004 retrospective with Royal Rumble, the lost Royal Rumble, actually, for obvious reasons because of the winner, so that should be fun to talk about. And there is a retro poll up on the Twitter there for you guys to vote for a retro summer show as well. So it's gonna be a lot of fun over here. Smash that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It's been a long week, my friends. It's a thumbs up. Yeah, with the show opening up next Friday, that's just how it's gonna be with me. But Tomas,
I believe the next time you will see us is for AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling present the Forbidden Door at the end of the month. So we're looking very forward. I feel like that's going to be a fun pay-per-view to just kick back and relax and just witness. It's going to be history.
Oh, totally. But for Tomas, I'm Zack, of course. See you next time.